Mark and Sarah Stamper Retreat. Today I'm going to be creating 2 cards in one, using up scraps and stuff that you probably already have in your stash. So I don't know about you, but I get tons of these pieces of cardstock left from when I cut card bases or cut mats to go on my cards. So I always get loads and loads of strips. So today I'm going to use some of these strips and create a 2-in-1 card. So I've got 2 white 5x7 card blanks. I've got a piece of navy cardstock which measures 4.5 by 6.5 inches, and a piece of white cardstock. You can see even my white cardstock is a kind of scrappy bit. I don't know if you can see that. So you don't need this to be beautiful, and that measures 4.5 by 6.5 inches as well. And I've got a piece of adhesive sheet as well, and even that is a scrap of adhesive sheet, so I'm just going to cut that up as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cover my white piece of cardstock with adhesive sheet. So I'm just cutting it into pieces just to fit my my card blank, and that way I can use up these scraps that don't really fit on anything on their own. And I'll just trim off any excess bits. And I'm going to take the backing off. And then I'm going to lay some of these bits across my card. So I'm going to start in the middle and work outwards. You can see they're all different widths because I've made different sizes of card blanks or mats. So I'm just laying them out. Gathered ones of similar kind of like colour tones that will make nice patterns together, and so I'm just using them in a bit of a pattern. But I mean, you could make this really random as well, just to use it whatever you've got. And I'm purposefully leaving the corners till last because I can use up some of these scrappy bits that I cut off for the corners as well, and some of these shorter bits that I've got as well. And then because I'm getting towards the corners, I'm just going to trim some of these bits off because I'm going to use some of these shorter bits on the corners. And by using the adhesive sheet underneath, it's really quick just to put all the strips, and also it doesn't dry out, whereas if you covered the back with glue, by the time you got to the other corner it would probably have dried. And then I'm actually going to trim these last bits off on my trimmer to make sure that they're nice and straight. So I've actually decided to make these cards even more colourful and go for coloured card blanks instead of the white ones I was going to use. So I've got a navy card blank and a pink card blank, and then I've got this happy birthday die from Polkadoodles, but obviously again you can use whatever sentiment dies you've got in your stash. And then I'm just going to cut that out of this piece of stripy card and this piece of navy card. So then I've cut those out. Just to note, you're going to want to put this one through a few times because it's got to cut through the card and the piece of cardstock underneath. And that's another good thing to note. You want some nice thin white cardstock. Don't use thick stuff because otherwise your dies might not get through it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to some adhesive sheet on the back of each of these pieces. And you'll note that I've kept all the I've kept literally everything that come out of this, even the bits that go in the middle of the letters, because we'll need those in a bit. I'm going to do the same with the stripy one. Then I'm going to take the backing off this and I'll use that to glue it to the card blank. You want to make sure you've got the positioning before you put it down, because it's just going to stick straight away. You've got no wiggle room here. And then I'm going to take this, I'm going to pop out all the pieces that I don't need, but I'm going to keep them for the other card. And then I'm going to carefully pop this in here. And then what I'm going to do is pop the kind of like waste bits out of this one back in. So I can lay this over here because obviously the blue's underneath now and not the sticky bit. And then I'm just going to use the end of my scissors just to pop the bits out and into the gaps where they're needed. Now I have to do the same with the bursting. So there's one of the cards done. Now I'm going to do the exact same with this one. Now on this one we're going to get the nice stripy writing. And this is also why I think it's a really good idea to use the adhesive sheet rather than glue to pop on your strips of paper, because you can make sure that there's glue on every single bit so none of these little pieces of cardstock are falling off. So I just need to pop all these little bits back in. And then we've got two really lovely colourful cards. We've used up a load of scraps. Didn't need anything really particularly special for it, but we've ended up with two cute cards. Then I've also made these two cards using a similar technique. I'm using this Thank You So Much die from Tim Holtz, which comes as part of a set. I'll link it below. So these are obviously a really different look. I'm just using up a bit of pattern paper as well as the plain paper. And then you get this nice kind of fancy font for the reverse as well. So I really hope that you've enjoyed today's tutorial. If you did, I'd appreciate you clicking like below. You can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will also notify you when I've got a new video available. I've popped a link to this die in the description below, but really everything else is using up your scraps. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.